the fun times we had. I'll never forget. We will always share a bond, no matter what. 'Cause you have a piece of my heart, and I know that we're not perfect, but I'm gonna miss all that we had. Yeah, I know that we're not perfect, but I need this night for the last time. Stay, stay. No, you're gone in the morning, but I'll be okay if you stay, stay. No, you're gone in the morning, but I'll be okay if you stay, stay. If you stay, if you stay. No, you're gone in the morning, but I'll be okay. Till the sun goes up, yeah, for a little moment. Just hold me closer, I'll be okay. Till the sun goes up, yeah, for a little moment. Just hold me closer, I'll be okay. We watch the sun go down over the same old town. Stay, stay. No, you're gone in the morning, but I'll be okay if you stay, stay.
Hey everyone tuning in. My name is Tsvetelina. I'm the executive director of the Danish Short Film Festival, and you are here watching our Nevada program Q&A session with our filmmakers, and you are able to send us in questions that they can answer in real time. And let's get our filmmakers up on the screen so that we can introduce everyone and get to know a little bit more about everyone's project. And welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
Yeah. So let's start with some introductions, and let us know your name, your film, and what your role was in the project, and we'll just go, across the line. I don't know if this is backwards. Oh, I think I'm off.
Did you guys' screen freeze too?
I see you all moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I hear you guys now.
Okay.
I hear you now.
Good.
I was like, was it just us? Oh, no, it's just us.
So if you're logging back in.
Yeah.
It's good to connect with everybody. So what's everyone's films? I'll introduce myself maybe. I'm Alphonse Polito from Road to Recovery.
Nice.
It was a documentary project that we just produced about highlighting individuals that are in recovery from addiction or dependency to opioids.
Very cool.
Hi. My with you guys now.
It's like
It's a
squad.
little bit choppy. You want us to continue introducing ourselves?
Yeah, please take over while we figure out what's going on here.
My name is Brett Levner, and I'm here along with my graduate student, Olivier. And I teach film over at University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And we did a project, a short doc called Windsor Park. And I was the faculty advisor, and Olivier was the producer. Olivier, you want to introduce yourself?
Well, thank you, Brett, for my introduction. Again, my name is Olivier. I'm a graduate in the Writing for Dramatic Media program, which is the MFA program for the Department of Film at UNLV. So I got to work as a producer with Brett as the faculty advisor and executive producer. So it was a really great experience, and I'm glad to be here.
That's awesome.
And my name is Anais Tomasian, and I am in the Nevada category as well, and I am the writer director of Crackle.
Awesome.
Very nice.
It's good to meet all of you. Are you all in the South then? Are you all in Vegas?
Yeah, where are you from? Then I was assuming you were from here too.
We're up in Reno. So up in
I see.
Okay.
the project was actually filmed around the state, but we filmed two of our kind of main storylines were actually in Vegas, and then one of the storylines was up here in Reno.
And what made you decide, like, how did you find your the people who were you were filming?
So this is a longer story, but I guess we can ad lib to this while we're getting here. This has been the last few years for everybody, I assume, right? This has been the same for us. We're constantly in the middle of meetings and dealing with technical stuff. But yeah, short answer basically is the project was funded by the state, and the goal of it was a joint effort produced by the Department of Health and Human Services and the Nevada Broadcasters Association. And the Broadcast Association and their executive director, Eric Benici, brought us in. Eric is a very, very talented producer as well, and brought us in to kind of help put the film together. And so we had created a previous documentary and featured some of these individuals. And this is now kind of showing them years later and in their kind of recovery. And so they were kind of who we started with, and then kind of branched out to other storylines as we met other characters and other individuals.
And does Nevada have like a high percentage of people in recovery?
Yeah, and it's been a really interesting road for a lot of individuals. In 2017, there was new legislation that went into place, and so in 2018, it kind of started, and that's when we've started kind of making content that was about this issue with the state and the Broadcaster Association, as I mentioned. And so there's been a trend in a positive direction with prescription rates and things like that, and getting individuals into treatment centers and helping. And I can't speak on this personally as like I'm not a representative of the state, but as the filmmaker who's learned a lot of this stuff, and the team here at our company, which is Three Sticks Productions, we've just been flabbergasted by just the response we've seen from support from so many individuals. And it really is just like moving stuff for us to work on, because it's so humbling that people are sharing their true stories of just trials and tribulations and really difficult times, and seeing people get better and seeing them in their like kind of second life, I guess, as I call it. It's really heartwarming stuff. So we're hopeful that it continues in that path of getting more and more people help. So please, hello.
You guys don't need me at all. I don't know what I'm doing here. Thank you guys for taking over and handling all that. So I'm not exactly sure how far you guys have gotten in your conversation, but we are looking for questions from the audience, so anyone can tune in and let us know what they would like to know. I would like to know about the most challenging part of what was in your filmmaking experience regarding this project. And we will start with Anais.
Well, as far as like challenging on the days of the shoot, which there is always something, right? I had this vision of bubbles, like I wanted bubbles, and I was like, how hard can it be? We'll have bubbles and they'll fly about, and we'll get one of those machines, and it'll fill up the whole thing. And of course it didn't. Like, it wasn't. And it was like, we got some legit bubble makers. Like, I wasn't like, I wasn't doing that. Like, I was like, all right. But like, there was wind, and then like the minute, of course, it was all filled up. Oh, it looks beautiful. Okay, shoot. And then it was like, where are the bubbles? Or they're just like seem like they're coming from a blow. It was just, so that was funny, but it was also like annoying. And that was just one thing. I think besides that, the challenge was on me. And I have a young actress in my film, and I was trying to get something out of her, like something specific that I wanted. Like for whatever reason, I'm like, okay, I want this thing out of her, right? And I was using language, and it just wasn't reaching her, you know, and I could tell. And partly because she was young, you know, this is her first film, and partly because like it was my fault, like I wasn't doing my job. So on set, I had to adjust. I don't think readjust is a word. I had to change it up. I had to figure out like, what does she need? Why aren't I getting through? And we tried it many times, and she did her own thing. And afterwards, as I was like looking at all the different takes, I was like, oh, like she had her own thing going on, and it was better than what I was trying to get out of her. So I was fighting this thing that was like not naturally happening. And it was such a big lesson for me of like being in the moment, and also B, like letting go of your own garbage, kind of. You know, like what you think it should be, or what you want to say, and what, you know, like all of that is so
You gotta let it be what it is. Sometimes
Right.
it becomes its own thing. So,
yes, it's not helpful to be so constrained. It's like, I think especially with art, you know, with any kind of art, the minute you put it into a thing, it becomes like constipated. But it was a big lesson learning from her, because she was so new and pure and honest that it was like, oh, it's like right in front of my eyes. So Edie Foster, my young actress. Not mine.
she's amazing, and we give kids so much less credit than they deserve. They're very smart, and know what's up sometimes. So
100%. Yeah.
yeah. Olive, how about you? What was the most challenging part of your project for you?
So I think that Brett and I will probably have different answers, just because of, you know, her being not only the executive producer, but also the faculty advisor, and then me being not just the producer, but the teaching assistant and whatnot. For me, I think the biggest challenge was that this was a project that, although it was like a real world work experience, it was still technically connected to a class. So because of that, we had, you know, typical things that always occur in a semester: people slacking off, or, you know, not completing jobs that they needed to get done. And that's going to happen, you know, anytime, any place.
That's the real world.
Right. Right, not just school. School's forever, right? It goes on. But it was just interesting and difficult, because I realized what kind of worker I am, in terms of, you know, I set expectations, and I'll do my 100%, and I hope that you do your 100%, and not like, you know, leave the last week of the deadline to get your hair cut. When, you know, like, so to me, that was the biggest challenge, because because it's still a class, you know, everybody was learning. I mean, I was working, but I was still learning as well. So that part of having expectations for not only the project, but like myself and others, and then, you know, kind of getting slapped in the face with the reality of, well, yeah, but I want to go on spring break. And it's like, okay, like, well, please finish your deadline before you go on spring break. So things like that was difficult for me. But overall, again, we got it done. took a bit longer than I hoped it would, but in the end, we were able to get everything right in terms of what we had. So
Well, there's always those challenges that nobody sees in the background of a production.
yes, and
So
I'm sure I shouldn't say these things. I'm sure Brett's like, you're talking about it again, but I'm just
no,
like, no, like,
I think it's important for everyone to know that they can relate to that situation, and I think everyone can relate to that. So thank you. Al, how about for you?
Yeah, for us, I think, obviously production's always challenging, and as you mentioned, the problems that are similar to what we face. But for us, I think it's that killing your darlings thing is always difficult with any project. But when it's someone's personal story, and we interviewed multiple people, and it was like lifelong stories that get people to where they are, and we were creating this for TV for broadcast deliverable of 28 minutes and 30 seconds. So we were stuck to that time frame. And so for us to find that story arc and give it the justice that it deserved for each individual's piece, and not see things hit the cutting room floor that were, really critical pieces to these individuals' story was like just a heart-wrenching thing. We'd have to like take stuff out because it's just all of these individuals that we were able to highlight and showcase. We wanted to do justice by them, and really it's kind of what our feeling has been with this type of work, has been to share the honest story that's occurred for these individuals that are just so amazing in their recovery. And so that was tough for us when we had to cut it for time and see things go. But at the end of the day, the piece has an arc to it, and it has a motivating factor of trying to remain hopeful and hopefully encourage others to get help. So we're in the end, it always works out, as you said, like we finished it and we get it done. That's the key.
Yeah, and I can see that with with three of you here, that when it's a documentary and you have you feel very like you have a there's a purpose for this, and you owe it to these people that this is their lives. This is so huge to them that really, that's a lot of responsibility. So
Yeah.
I definitely understand that. Brett, how about for you?
I was going to say that probably the hardest thing for us, one of the hardest things for us, is that we were shooting during COVID, like kind of the peak of COVID. And our class was actually an online class at the time. So the funny thing was, the first day, our first shoot, which was probably like 3 months into the semester, no one knew who each other was, because when the masks were on, we couldn't recognize each other. So that was sort of like a funny part of assimilating to like shooting. And so there was that, and there was the COVID protocols of like you have to be 6 feet apart, but you also have to be close enough to put the camera. And how do you be 6 feet apart if you have to have the person holding the boom from the so it was confusions. We also had like subjects that we had prepared to shoot outside for safety reasons, but she was 90 years old, our subject, and undergoing cancer treatment, and didn't want to be outside in the wind and the cold. And so what do we do? And so anyway, it was issues relating, I think, around that and coming out of it during the peak of COVID. And but we found ways around it. And actually, I think it brought us closer together, because we were so like, our students hadn't shot for so long or been in the field for so long that I think they were so hungry just for like collaboration, like where they could see face to face someone and work on something together on a set again, that I think it just made us that much closer in the end. So I think that was my biggest challenge, at least.
Yeah, and so speaking of COVID, have these projects premiered anywhere at any other festivals or anywhere in any other platform before, or is this the premiere? And if they have premiered, what was that experience like? Was that during COVID? What was that like? I'll start with Al on this one.
Yeah, so this is the first film festival that we've been a part of with this piece. Short story here. One of our subject matters is actually from Boulder City. I shouldn't say subject matter. It's one of our individuals that we highlighted. His name's Ryan Mills, really an amazing individual and actually really dear to my heart. He was in our first documentary, and just to see how the progress he's made over the 5 years of being sober. And it's, you know, he knew about this festival. He's obviously, what I love about Boulder City, and I got to know it because filming there, was it's this small community where he's had a lot of success in his career. He's a BMX pro, struggled, got injured, went down a path that wasn't productive for him. And because of that, he's now re-entered back into Boulder City, and he's there and he walks the streets and he's proud, and Boulder City's just welcomed him back. It really brought me this like feeling of joy about that community. And so I've known about the Damn Short Film Festival for years. I mean, I've been making short films in Northern Nevada, and I know many filmmakers here that have had films be at the festival. And so it was really cool. Ryan brought it up to us. He's like, hey, we should submit this there. And I was like, oh, absolutely. To go back to your point, the documentary was created for a broadcast need. So it aired statewide through the Broadcast Association, and our executive producer, Eric Benici, he works to get it on all of the TV stations across the state, and it airs in both English and Spanish. In Spanish, we do subtitles, and it's really a large reach to the state of Nevada through all of his partners at all of the news and radio stations, but this was for TV. So it aired there starting in November, or maybe it was actually October, I think was the first air date, end of October, might have been early November, and then is continuing to air. So you can still catch it on TV as it hits different stations, like schedules. And now we're doing some more festivals where this has kind of encouraged me to think maybe we should submit this to some more festivals and kind of go that route with this piece, because we haven't. And I'm really excited to be a part of this one.
Well, that's so great that it has such a wide reach. Because,
yeah. So shout out to Ryan and shout out to Boulder City.
Yeah.
Amazing person, amazing place.
Definitely agreed. Anais, is this a premiere or has it screened somewhere else? And what was that experience like?
I'm always the one that forgets about the mute. Yes, this is our premiere. We haven't screened anywhere else. We made it to some festivals that didn't have any screenings. So yeah, this is our first, and very, very exciting. It's always nice to have your community, your people, your state like support art and the art you make. It always feels better somehow. I'm not sure. It's like, you know, like a relative being like, "You're doing okay, kiddo," and you're like, "Thanks," or whatever. But it feels really good. I agree. Damn Sure is one of the best film festivals, and always a pleasure to be a part of it.
Thank you. We always love having you. Brett, how about for your film?
This is the first festival that we've been able to attend. But it's also really cool for us too, because I also like love this festival. My husband's from Boulder City, born and raised, and I agree what you were talking about what a great community it is. And I've been attending this festival for like 10 years now, since I moved to Vegas. And I also love being in the theater, the historic theater. But it's okay. I'm just glad to have a film. It was the first year got to submit a film, have a short to submit, and you know, with my students, I don't know, it's a great festival. I'm so excited to expose my students to the film festival, because it's just something that's close and dear to my heart. I just go every year, and I love the programming. So it's neat, especially the Nevada, you know, blocks are great too, because it just seems like the work you guys are all doing is so important for our community. So we're excited to be here. And strangely enough, we got into a couple of well, Olivier, you tell your part of how it's become an international fest. We've got into a couple international.
Oh, well, I'm bilingual, so I speak English and Japanese, and one of the things that I am considering pursuing is more higher education after my MFA. So I was thinking about studying in Japan to study Japanese film. And I asked Brett, I said, Brett, do you mind if I just subtitle this in Japanese? She's like, sure, why not? I was like, okay. So I worked together with one of my partners, Ukyo. So we did a Japanese translation and we started submitting it to festivals. And we have gotten into a few, which is nice because as somebody who is not only like a film scholar of Japanese film, but also somebody who's very passionate about the culture, I was very excited that we could kind of share a little bit of Las Vegas over there, because whenever I was working over there, people would always be like, oh, Las Vegas girl, casinos, gambling. I'm like, yes, yes. So I was like, other things too, but yes, you are correct. So that's been really nice. And since everybody has a little thing about Boulder, I guess I can share my little snippet. I also love Boulder. I didn't used to love Boulder though, because I used to go there for high school soccer games and get my ass kicked by the Boulder City soccer team. So they were very good. And eventually, obviously I graduated and stuff, but it just kind of feels a little bit serendipitous, a little bit kind of full circle. Now I'm older and I'm like, oh my gosh, now I can go to Boulder and enjoy nice things and not feel not feel sad about going to lose another soccer game. But it's very cool. And I'm very happy.
We've got some great sports.
Yes,
sports
yes,
stars.
you guys do. Very strong sports teams. So again, I'm grateful to Brett for kind of introducing our class to this festival. So it's very exciting.
That's awesome. And I want to bring it back to Brett, and I wanted to ask, so you're on the board, I don't know if I think you still are, of the Nevada Women's Film Festival. Do you want to talk a little bit about Nevada Women's Film Festival? We've been, great friends with you guys for many years now, and talk a little bit about your experience through the pandemic and what that all has been like, and what your plans are for your next festival.
Thank you for letting me share that. Yeah, I'm on the board of the Nevada Women's Film Festival. We're in our 8th year, and we actually moved our festival to June now. We used to be in March for Women's History Month, but now we happen in June because we feel that we get a better turnout. In the last 2 years, we've been virtual as well. But it's been really cool in one regard, because we get so many international people able to attend the festival, or even people in the US who can't attend, they can attend virtually. So we've actually had some really cool programs and mixers online and so forth. So actually, we're going to keep part of the hybridness to it, but we're going to go back in person in June, supposedly, unless God forbid, things happen. But we're supposed to be back in person, and we're down at the downtown Las Vegas at the Art House. Art House. Yeah, it used to be the Eclipse Theater, and now it's been renamed by a new owner. And we are going to be moving forward with just programming, and we're going to have a new Vanguard, a new Nevada Woman of the Year, Filmmaker of the Year award recipient, and some interesting panel discussions. And so that's in June. Please check us out on our website, nwffest.com. And I think hopefully we'll get to be in person and enjoy each other's company that way.
That's so great. My next question is, I don't think we've received any from the audience, but as they come in, we will post them up on the screen. But my next question is, what is your next project? And I will start with Anais.
Gosh, you're just like, Anais. I'm like, oh, okay.
Your chances are, 1 out of 4 that I'm gonna pick you. So sorry.
That's all right. I'm ready, baby. I honestly, I'm in like writing stage. I'm in this in like a writing pit. It's like ideas, and then this writing idea, and then maybe I could do this. So I'm kind of like in the very beginnings, but they're all very exciting. Sci-fi, I don't know, maybe I don't know. Just thinking like trying to go towards comedy this time and seeing how successful I am in that. And not so maybe dark. I don't know. Guys, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. But it's going really great. It's going great.
Well, you don't always have to know where you're going.
Can I just say one thing?
somewhere.
Anais, do you have a bunny
Yes.
rabbit in the background? I saw your bunny.
Yeah, I do. And I told her to leave, and she wouldn't listen. She wants to stay. She's over there now, though. I hoped that it wouldn't distract, and there you are. She's.
That's an okay distraction. Like, more bunnies, please.
I know. Bunnies are. She's such a weirdo, but she's staring at me now and giving like. She might make another appearance.
Next subject of your sci-fi comedy?
Bunny rabbits from space.
I love it. Let me know.
I will. You could be one of the bunny.
Oh, I'm so there.
Yeah.
Hopping right
you
over.
You got a bunny vibe.
Do I? Thank you.
Yeah, a little bit. In a good way.
Thanks. Let's go with Al. How about you? What's your next what are you working on now or coming up?
Yeah, so our like kind of day to day, we are a video production company that creates a lot of marketing content, and film has always been like a passion of mine. I started out in front of the camera trying to make it as an actor, and then kind of fell into production and love it. And so I'm really, this documentary, we kind of wrote in a short film piece. Like we created kind of narrative storyline that kind of aligns with the kind of real life scenarios. And so it really like fired me up to want to get back into filmmaking and create something that's a little more narrative and story driven. So we have a lot of irons in the fire with video production for like marketing content and some of the companies that we work with, which we love and are excited about. But on the personal passion side, the fire is starting to burn to get back into some narrative storytelling where we can be far-fetched and get out into the creative atmospheres of bunny rabbits in space and stuff like that. So it's definitely our passion to kind of get back into that as a team. We're a team of 9 here at 3 Sticks. So it feels good to have such a supportive team and also just a really talented group of individuals with us. And that's who made this piece. And I think we're all kind of itching to do something narrative. So that's that. And then on the doc side, with what we're doing with Broadcast Association, it really is going to kind of be what's that next story that will help to kind of continue this push to help with this epidemic that's been the opioid crisis, I'll call it. And so Eric Bonici's idea really was this idea of highlighting individuals that have made it into recovery. And we're just, happy to see that come to life. And now it's about addressing other issues with that. So on the doc side, I think that will probably be the next one. It just hasn't officially figured that out yet. We assume the next kind of topic or the next issue will be stigma and how individuals are kind of left in the shadows or pushed into the shadows. And then they don't speak up or ask for help because they're ashamed and that's one of the things I think is the big piece to solving the equation, or hopefully maybe we'll help solve that. Yeah, because this is the 4th documentary in this series of pieces about this epidemic. And so we would love to continue that with the state and with the Broadcast Association in the future as well.
Can I ask a question about that? I'm so
Sure.
sorry.
No.
So you say you've made 4 pieces so far, and I was kind of wondering this before when we were just, free balling. But is there a reason why you guys haven't done like a feature-length documentary? Like, is there a reason you're keeping it short?
So these are intended to reach individuals through broadcast means, and then also web. These obviously are online as well. Their reach is intended to be 28:30. So because of that, the TV airtime is 28:30, and so we have actually made longer versions of these. Our first documentary we made was called Prescription for Hope. And it was just kind of about the new legislation and how the issue in Nevada had grown and kind of that, hey, there's almost like a hopeful message for individuals that are struggling, and kind of educate people about just opioids in general. I didn't know even what an opioid was when we kind of learned about the project. It was like, okay, yeah, Google opioid. It was like that novice to the subject matter. And then when you meet real people, really interesting stuff. And so from there, we've kind of highlighted other issues with individuals who struggle with dependency. And so through chronic pain and kind of how that aspect, and then also we featured trying to encourage mothers that are struggling with this substance to learn about it. So then that neonatal abstinence syndrome was another piece we covered. And then the fourth one now is individuals in recovery. So it's been a lot of learning tools for our team, and obviously really, really rewarding content. We just feel honored to be able to meet individuals that are willing to share their story in an effort to help others. It's pretty cool stuff. So one day maybe we'll make like a full length or do something a little bit bigger, but it's been more, like I said, for broadcast purposes.
Well, and I do want to highlight what Ryan has done and been able to, facilitate through his work, and the fact that he's someone that can, relate to people and they can talk to him, and it's really, as you mentioned, bridging that gap of, getting help. And so it's really important work. So thank you so much for doing that. Yeah. And Olive, I was curious, is documentary filmmaking your passion in filmmaking, or is what are you working on next, and where do you see that going?
So it is one of my passions, yes. And the current documentary project that I'm focusing on right now is actually my own. So I'm in the process of getting funding for my documentary that I would like to do about anime culture. And the kind of research theme, as you would call it, is on a certain genre that is kind of under wraps, probably to the normal Japanese nerd, right, or anime nerd. But there is a genre in Japan called boys love, which is usually shortened to BL. And the boys love genre is usually about like two males falling in love with each other. And as of late, because of social media, lots of American fans have used this as propaganda for gay rights. However, according to the research that I've done, and like the research that many other people have done in terms of like anime and manga or Japanese comics, this doesn't align with the roots of the genre, because the roots of the genre stem from Japanese women who have been sexually oppressed by kind of the misogynistic culture in Japan. So the documentary that I'm trying to do is dive more into the psychology of these boys love creators versus the psychology of the fans, to kind of clarify if fans are misinterpreting or interpreting the contents that they're consuming. So that's my personal project that I'm trying to do right now. I've been submitting lots of different applications for grants and whatnot. So hopefully that gets some traction by the end of this month. And that'll be something that I want to finish before the end of my time at UNLV, which will be next spring. But I'm also a narrative filmmaker, but I'm a screenwriter. So my current project that I'm working on right now is something that I was inspired to write because of my Japanese history teacher, who I'm sure is so sick of me. I've taken all his classes. He's like, when will she leave me alone? But there was the story that I'm writing right now is about a Japanese housewife in 1946 Japan who enters the perilous black market industry that popped up during, or kind of during, but after World War II, during the American occupation. So she enters this black market industry in order to save her family. And what she doesn't know is that her biggest enemy might be living in the same house with her. So that's what I'm writing right now. And don't know if that'll get picked up, because we all know budgets are budgets, but it's a passion project that I really hope to finish by the end of the semester.
All that sounds very interesting.
Is that a short or a feature you're writing?
Feature.
That's awesome.
Thank
Yeah. Brett, do you want to speak to a little bit about the UNLV film program and the ways that, aspiring filmmakers could get involved?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So, yeah, we have a film program. We have a undergraduate we have an undergraduate program in film, and we also have a graduate dramatic writing or screenwriting program, an MFA in screenwriting. And the undergraduate is a BA and in film production. But we also, there's elements of film study, film criticism, and so forth involved in the major. But I teach editing, documentary production, and sometimes some other things sprinkled in. But it's actually a really great program. It's been around. No one really is aware. Not a lot of people are aware of it, but we've been around almost 30 years now. Not me personally, but the program. And I moved here about 10 years ago to teach at the program. And it's a great program. And, for your money, you can get a really good education in film, and it can prepare you to enter the workforce. So for example, this class, the documentary class, it's something that I started teaching about when I first came here, because I come from a background in nonfiction. I used to work at MTV in their docs department when they had one back in the day, and worked as a camera operator, field producer in reality and nonfiction television for 10 years before getting into teaching. And I really love teaching because it kind of gives me that stability to work on my own projects. But also I think it's rewarding to work with students. So this class came about by first kind of finding someone in the community that we could help, like an organization. So over the years, we've made short docs for different nonprofits, like the Holocaust survivors of Southern Nevada. We did one with actually for water treatment and kind of demystifying water reclamation process. We did one about for Gender Justice Nevada, an organization that helps LGBTQ individuals in the community. And then we got this opportunity to work with the law school to do this one on Windsor Park. Right now we're working on one for an organization called Broadway in the Hood, and we'll be making a doc for them to help promote their organization, helping kids with their passions for the arts in underprivileged communities in Las Vegas. So if you're interested in being part of the program at UNLV Film, please reach out to me. We have a website, unlv.edu/film. There's different events that are open to the public and to the community, screenings and so forth. You're welcome to attend. You can have a tour, or if you want to chat with me, please do. We're always looking for people to come and be part of our community.
I will dovetail onto Brett's statement and also say that if you do join, please take Brett's class. Brett is one of the best professors, in my opinion, in the film department at UNLV, because she every semester does projects like these. She allows students to have real work experience. So by the time that they graduate, they actually have a reel, they actually have things on their resume. And she didn't say it, so I'll say it here. She's also allowing them to, help her on her indie film that she's working on right now. So it's really exciting to be a student of Brett, because again, sometimes you would never get these opportunities in your life, especially as an undergrad. So best teacher ever.
And she doesn't, and I already gave her a grade, so it's not a bribe. No, I'm kidding.
Lots of opportunities in Las Vegas for the film community, and great shout out to Broadway in the Hood. They just had a couple of plays here at the historic DWP building in Boulder City, sponsored by the Nevada Arts Council. So I'd love that we can all collaborate in whatever your art form is, theater, music, we can all collaborate. So I love that we have that in our community, and Las Vegas has, well, Nevada has culture. So I think that's wonderful. And just really quickly, I'd love to hear from all of you guys about your tip to aspiring filmmakers. Like, what's just quickly, what would you what's your biggest tip? So I'll start with you.
Gotta get that unmute button on speed dial. Man, there's so many things that you can do. The thing for me though that I've always just kind of stood on is like get involved and learn the different aspects. I preach this all the time to my team. I'm aging. I feel like I keep getting older every year somehow, and
That
you
tends to happen.
It does, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. I always say the ground gets further away every year. Every time I drop a dollar, I'm like, oh. But if there's anything I've tried to teach to everybody here at Three Sticks is like, the more you know about other aspects of filmmaking, it makes you better in the other aspects. So if you can learn about editing, even if it's not your passion, it doesn't necessarily mean that it won't help you in writing, because then you can understand the other piece of it. Same thing goes if you want to be a writer, or excuse me, if you want to be an editor, understand how cameras work, understand how shots are created, because it helps you think and kind of solve problems along the way is and this is all personal experience. I'm self-taught and, I've learned from some really great mentors in the past. And so it really has just been about like getting involved and then not being afraid to learn the other aspects of, the industry, and then find your passion and chase after it. Because it's really, for all of us, and everyone here probably agrees, it's about perseverance. You're going to hit roadblocks. You're going to get tired. And there's going to be late edit sessions. There's going to be this, the struggles of getting a project to the finish line. But it's about just fighting through and persevering through those struggles until you can hit render and you can watch it and say it's done. So, yeah, just find your passion, push at it, and just keep learning. Long answer, sorry. I'm very passionate about this stuff. You can tell.
Oh, that's great. Olive, how about you?
Something I always tell people is that, Hollywood isn't everything. There's just so many other ways and things that you can create your art or just keep creating art. And again, people will say it all the time that you don't need a degree or anything like that. And that's totally true. However, I always think that there is some aspect to academia that could help some people, right? If that's a part of your journey. Like I graduated from UNLV in 2015 and I was just like, oh yeah, I'll never do film again. And then, 2020, I was just like, you know what? I think I want to be a screenwriter. I think I'm done. I had my little side journey and I'm like, I can go back. Or even just, again, these projects that I want to do. If I wasn't a student right now, there are probably some scholarships or grants that I couldn't apply for. But thanks to, being in academia, it's like I do have that opportunity. And I mean, even if we just do a really distant example, like one of the current nominees for Best Film of the Year, Drive My Car, Yusuke Hamaguchi. He kind of did a similar thing to me. He graduated. He was working in the industry. I think he was doing documentaries. And then he decided to go back and get an MFA at Geijitsu Daigaku, which is like the only art school in Japan. But now he's nominated, right, for one of the best films of the year. So everybody's journey is different. So Hollywood is not the only thing you can do. And I don't think academia is bad if you decide to do that also for film.
Definitely. And also a quick shout out to your puppy in the background.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, I told her, I was like, go to sleep. I was like, I'll be busy. You sleep there. She's eye candy. If you want to see, she will not wake up.
Yeah.
But thank you.
She was jealous of the talk of buddies and was like, look at me.
Yeah. Her name is Ewok. So
Oh.
not because Star Wars is my favorite movie, but I don't know if you guys ever saw those videos of like Shih Tzus in Ewok costumes on YouTube. I love those.
I think I have, yeah. That's awesome. Cute. Anais, what's your advice?
I always find it weird to give advice because everyone has their own thing, right? Like we always I guess if I had to give advice, I would say just to do it. You just got to do it. Sometimes I feel like our fear gets the better of us and we make excuses and we avoid. I'm only speaking, on my, from my history. But I think you just got to do it and just be scared and just make mistakes and just conquer those things, those faults that you run into and the problems. And those are the things that make everything exciting, I think. And I think just get away from God. Just step away from yourself and don't get in your own way, I guess. Yeah. And get a bunny.
Bunnies help.
That was a
Thank you.
pandemic thing, by the way. I got a bunny. And
Oh,
it totally helps.
bunnies make the pandemic much
Yeah.
better.
Except she does chew on a lot of my things. Like right now so
Oh.
there's that.
Hey, there's, risk and
You know.
reward.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's got faults, right?
Can't blame the bunny.
No.
Brett, so this is something that you teach. So what's your top advice for aspiring filmmakers?
My advice, and I take it for myself as well, is that don't be so precious with your work. You got to practice as filmmakers, like anything. Like we can't get better if we don't make it and make stuff and learn, like you said, and make mistakes. And like a sport, you can't get better at baseball if you never play, but you're always just planning to play. So I say, and I try to apply it to myself too. Don't be so precious. Practice your craft. Do it, and don't expect it to be perfect. It's okay that it's not perfect. Sometimes what was that saying, that sometimes the process is better than the end result, the learning process, what you get out of it. So, make an exercise. Don't wait to get $1 million. Use your phone, make something. And because of the internet now, it's like there's so much need for content. There's so much viewers at your fingertips. I remember when I was going to film school, like we used to have to shoot on film, and that was so like only so many people could afford to do that. But now it's so accessible, and so it's great because there's so many more stories that can be told and so many people that can tell their stories. And even though there's only so many stories to tell, everyone sees it in a different way, so everyone's story is valid. And not everyone has to love your story, but you'll find your audience. And so I would just say my big thing is don't be so precious and just practice.
Definitely. And speaking of all the stories, that's what we love about short films and our festival, and just being able to experience so many different perspectives in a short amount of time. And just real quick, so you guys know, we have over 140 international short films streaming over the next 5 days. You have 5 days to watch any particular film program as soon as you unlock it. And that even counts for on the very last day of our festival on Monday, February 14th. If you unlock a program that day, you actually have 5 days to finish it. So you can really extend your festival pass, which I would highly recommend getting, to the actually 10 days of watching films and tuning into live streams or watching them later on. So I want to thank you all for joining me, and I want to quickly ask you to let people know how they can find you. Aside from the Filmmaker Lounge, our virtual Filmmaker Lounge, I hope you all join and connect with other filmmakers and film fans. And Anais, we'll start with you. Where can people find more of your work?
Bunny. I'm in the process of getting a website, so that's one thing. But you can check out my Instagram, I guess. How lame. On
Not lame.
It's under Penny Pibbs, PennyPibbs, and yeah, I think that's fine.
That's perfect. I mean, I think Instagram's kind of the best way nowadays to follow content and
Yeah.
connect with people. So one of the best ways. So let's go with Aleve after you.
So I am an iPad addict, so I'll just use that very right now.
Oh, dang!
So
That's cool. Look at
That
that.
was.
there's that. So you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, at Evil. Oh, here we go. Evilo 2017. So it's just my name backwards. Olive Evilo. So this is where I am. My website's here too. So if anybody wants to check me out on YouTube, geeking out over my hobbies, or check me out on Twitter, wondering if in my hair it's dandruff or dust from my pillow, that's where I'll be.
That's awesome. And I apologize. I have been mispronouncing your name this whole time.
It's fine. There's not a lot of Tongans around this area, so I think you're good.
I think there's at least 3 of us here that have hard to pronounce names. So, but all right, Al. That's an easy way to say your name. So
Yeah, please. Yeah, it's my friends call me Al, so this is good. Our company is called 3 Sticks Productions. It's all spelled out, 3 THREE sticks, like you throw for a dog, and Productions. We're located in Reno, Nevada. We kind of operate all over the place, but you can look us up, 3sticksproductions.com, or we're on Instagram at 3 Sticks Video, and also our studio space is 3 Sticks Studio. So that's kind of, I'll be completely honest, I'm terrible at social media. So I also have social media. I think it's just my full name. I'm not 100% on that. And also the best way to find anything is if somebody from my team posts it on our Instagram. So that's probably the best way to follow us. We also are trying to get a website finally. So yeah, there will be more content up there. So it's definitely a challenging thing to actually market yourself. But
social media is the devil, is it not? It's just whoa.
Yeah, but
too many jobs.
We got to be less precious. We got to make sure we get that stuff out there. So thank you guys for everything.
Thank you. And Brett, how can people find you?
Yes, Olive is teaching me how to do my social media. I sent finally an Instagram post with a link today, and I was like, yes. So I too am learning. She's teaching me. But you can go.
Me, Brett.
check. She'll help you. Check. You can come UNLV Film. Check us out on UNLV Film. We're on Instagram and Facebook. And I know Facebook's dead. I was told Olive told me Facebook no more. Okay, fine. But
I still love Facebook.
I like Facebook. Or I have a website, brettlevner.com. Apparently, I'm the only Brett Levner in the world. So you can Google me if anyone have any questions. And thanks so much. It was lovely meeting all of you.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Likewise.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you.
Whenever I'm with you, I am alright. There's something about the way you make me feel inside. I'm counting down the days till we fly away, heading to the sun, only you and me.